On this episode of AV Week, what resimercial dealers mean to the commercial AV market, getting your AV education both online and in person, and experiencing transparent LEDs. All that and more next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 382, recorded Friday, December 21st, 2018. Transparent AV.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by BIAM and by
Atlona, the go-to provider for AV signal distribution and control in corporate, higher education, and residential spaces.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audiovisual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information that we have gathered for this week, first and foremost, his name is Malcolm Edwards, and he is with HD Base T. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Also with us is Mike Garrido. Mike is from Christie Digital. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Very, very happy to be here. It's looking forward to this.
And last but not least, the brand spanking new chair, actually, technically, I think is what they call him, of the CTS Steering Committee. He also with EAS out of Fort Worth. His name is Luke Jordan. Welcome, sir.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Welcome, sir. And congratulations. We'll get to the rest of it in a second, but congratulations, dude. Seriously.
Thank you.
All right, let's kick this off here. First story we've got actually comes to us by way of commercial integrator, and AVNation has several different shows, and I start this for a reason. One of our shows is called ResiWeek, hosted by my buddy Matt Scott, integrator, residential and like commercial integrator out of London, Ontario. A woman that is on one of his shows regularly, her name is Heather Sidorowicz. Heather is on the CEDIA board. Recently went through a transformation at Southtown, which is the name of her company, where she shifted her focus a bit into more commercial. The term resimercial, which we did not coin, but we've used quite a bit in the last 6 to 9 months, has really kind of taken a hold here in 2018. I would read a quote here from the article that Greg McCormick wrote. Quote unquote, Southtown Audio Video in Hamburg, New York is the latest company to give customers a clearer picture of how the technology they're considering buying for their offices could transform their work, thanks to a brand new 1,500 square foot facility that they opened up November 2nd. They're looking at how what they're using at home can also impact what they're using at work and vice versa. Luke, I'm going to start with you on this first and foremost. Is resimercial something that you guys as commercial integrators look at, are concerned with, are looking at some of these residential dealers, whether it's in your part of Texas or even nationally, where residential dealers are getting more and more into commercials? Are you seeing these folks as more and more competitors? And if so, how do you combat that?
We don't do residential, so we're commercial only. We haven't done anything close to residential since the 90s, I believe. And for us, it's not that there's anything wrong with residential. It's not that we had a bad experience. But the types of projects that we prefer to work on, as far as size, scope, even just length of the project, and I'd say also the challenge. We just prefer to work in that commercial space. There are several resimercial integrators in Texas where they'll do both, and you'll see them in neighborhoods on your way to a job site, and you get downtown and their trucks are there as well. So there's definitely opportunity in that space, and a lot of those folks are doing a really great job with it. It doesn't concern me if I'm doing a really good job connecting with architects, with end users, if I'm competitively priced, if I'm providing great quality and value. I'm not worried. In fact, one of the big takeaways I get from the trade shows is how many people there are. AV is not going anywhere. It's definitely going to be around and needed. So there's enough meat on the bone for everyone to eat and have healthy competition. And so I'm not worried about it at all. I welcome that.
All right. Well, you actually kind of answered the second part of my question, which was going to be, is that something that you guys consider getting into? Which you guys haven't done it since the 90s, then obviously not. Mike, I want to bring you guys you in on this from the manufacturer standpoint. You obviously you have several clients that are commercial folks, and they work in healthcare, they work in Fortune 500 companies. When it comes to having some of your dealers, either getting into residential, or you have a residential potential client come to you and say, look, I'm starting to do more commercial work. Is there anything from Christie's standpoint, or even from a manufacturing standpoint, that differentiates the two, or is an install pretty much an install?
Well, an install to us is an install. You're correct. However, we don't actually pursue the residential market, but we do have some high-end integrators that come our way. And a lot of that has to do with extremely high-end clients, like high niche clients that specifically want something with performance and reliability that they have not been able to find in more commercial type or more product that they would find at Costco or whatever, right? So and our products are pretty much high-end. But it all has to do with the quality, reliability, and the design and performance of the product. And there are some high-end residential clients that do look for that. Again, we don't pursue the residential market. It's the integrators that come to us.
All right, makes sense. Malcolm, as we wrap up this, HCBST, you guys are at several different shows. Traditionally, you're at CES a lot of times. A number of times you're at CEDIA. So you touch, and then we're coming up on ISC, so you'll be there as well. You're at Infocom. You guys touch several different areas of this. What do you guys see different, or if there is any difference between the folks who are doing primarily residential and then primarily commercial, and then those folks who have kind of grown up now and they're doing both?
Well, I think, Tim, that I think we see some more sophistication in the commercial side of things. Tougher installs, bigger installs than in the residential space. I mean, obviously there are exceptions, but I think the general residential install is probably a lot simpler than the typical commercial install. Obviously, HCBHT technology works well for both. I think the installers are probably more interested getting trained. And HCBHT does a lot of training. We do training at all the major shows. We also have a very, very active Train the Trainer program where a manufacturer such as a Christie, I think Christie's done it already, can basically get trained by us. And then they're all set up to train their own employees. We will help them with a custom curriculum to train their folks, or they can use a standard curriculum, and the attendees can get CTS credits as well.
All right, very good. Actually leads us into our next story from Innovate. Very nice. Thank you, Malcolm. From Innovate on the Net, Kramer has launched the Kramer Academy, an online training or their training platform. From the article here, quote unquote, Kramer the AV over IP course, which is one of their courses, covers typical IP applications, encoder and decoder decoder setup, as well as system integration and management. This is primarily an online course. They are offering several at ISC, which is coming up on us in about a month or so. Mike, I would start with you on this. When it comes to training and CTS credits, and we talked about the fact that Luke is now the chair of the CTS steering committee, heavily involved and heavily concerned with training and making sure that the CTSs of the world have those RUs, those renewal units. From your guys' clients and your clientele, what are they telling you as far as education? Are they looking more for in-person, hands-on? They want to touch the projector and plug it in, or are they looking more for the online, the convenience of online and the ability to do these kind of like off hours and not necessarily go someplace for it?
Okay. So what we've been finding is that for training for the Christie products, when it comes to actual product, they want hands-on. Usually the first question is, where is this available? What office or how close are they? And of course our answer is, we have different offices, we have schedules, and we also can go to your office and do it there as well. So we're quite flexible that way, and it is important with credits for all different kinds of institutions and that. But we do have training online. But the online training that we do is more based around some certifications that we do for people that use our product. And the latest one, the biggest one lately has been our, for example, we have an RGB laser training course online. That is pretty straightforward. It certifies somebody to set up laser projectors in different locations. It's those sort of things. Online, we find very easy to do, but with product, I think, people prefer to have hands-on, and we prefer if they had hands-on when it came to the product as well. So,
that was my second part is what you guys prefer. So yeah, product, absolutely, get your hands on it. More higher level stuff. Online is fine. Malcolm, when it comes to HC-based, you guys have the Installer Zone, which has several different online courses. For CTS RU as well as some other ones, and CTS, which I haven't defined yet, and I apologize for that. CTS is Certified Technology Specialist certification through AVIXA. Malcolm, what are you finding from your clients and folks that are using HD-based products? Are they looking more for online, or do they want more in person?
Tim, I would say in general, the best way that we can reach the masses is obviously online. We've done, I think, about 5,000 trained installers online with our online program. We've actually trained about 150 trainers, if you will. I think 40 plus in the last year, and we've done training all over the world to, again, help with that.
Real quickly, 150 in the U.S. or 150 globally?
Globally.
Okay.
Right. So those are trainers, like I said, in China, Brazil, Mexico, the Philippines, the U.S., Italy, UK, and literally all over the world. So we've tried to. Typically, we're doing about 3 train-the-trainer sessions. One somewhere in the U.S. So that the most recent one was in Dallas. We did one in Amsterdam, I think, in July. We did one in China recently. So. That's a way to get out and help the end product customer do that. But since ours is more of a technology issue, we don't talk about necessarily specific products as much as maybe Mike would. So it's more about the technology. It's more about best practices, et cetera, rather than looking at a specific, let's say, projector or specific extender or matrix.
Okay, very good. Luke, we'll wrap up this one with you. As an integrator and somebody who's also responsible for techs, what do you prefer? I mean, do you prefer online? Do you prefer in person, or is there a reason for each?
There's definitely a happy medium, and there's just tons of value in both. On the sales end, if you don't understand the technologies and solutions available, and if you're not able to talk about the issue that the client's having and how you have technology, doesn't matter who makes it, but you have ways to solve that problem. If you can't effectively communicate that, you're going to have a hard time selling it. If your techs don't understand the best practices of that technology and how it works, when things go wrong, they won't have a clear understanding of how to go about identifying and solving that issue quickly and effectively. So getting your best practices, your how the technology works in general training is really good. At the same time, there's a limited number of vendors that I work with. there's lots of good products, but I can't install them all. If I have less, I get typically some better discounts, better pricing. So I'm going to focus on the few manufacturers that meet my needs in a given area, and having manufacturer-specific training. It might be the same as what other manufacturers have, but then you get into their product and you can get that much better at setting up their product, knowing where to go to make that product work its best, even tune it in a little bit better than maybe your general technology. I will say that the worst trainings are the ones that are a sales pitch for the products that they sell and don't talk about the technology being used at all. And I've gotten that sales pitch both in person and online. When it's online and I figure out it's a sales pitch, I can stop taking the class. When they buy me lunch, I'm a little more obliged to stick around. But I think there's a lot of value in both, and I really appreciate understanding how the technology works, but then understanding how my vendors really harness that and use that effectively, and it just creates a better partnership and better communication between me and my supplier.
Well, let me ask you this, and you may not have a good answer for this, and if not, that's fine. How do you best convey that to, and specifically talking about the training that was supposed to be a training that turns into a sales pitch? How do you convey to them, look, I appreciate your time, I appreciate lunch, as you mentioned, but I was looking more for, some technical meat here, not, the sales benefits of this product. How do you convey that to them, or can you?
It has a lot to do with the type of relationship we have.
Okay.
If I have all my sales, engineering, and purchasing staff in for a lunch and learn, and you take an hour and a half instead of a scheduled hour, and you don't really give us any new information, or I'd rather be too dry than too funny. And I'm a ridiculous person, but when I've got that much money sitting in a room instead of working, producing drawings, managing projects, I'm really paying for something that's going to benefit me down the road on a project, whether it's awareness of a solution you do have, but I didn't know about that already. So if there's ever a really bad experience, if I have enough friendship or trust with that person, I'll pull them aside afterwards and say, hey, really glad you came. Thanks for lunch. That being said, this was a little bit rough for our end. If you could do it more like this next time, I think it'll go much better. And we'll kind of quit responding to invitations for lunch and learns if it's just the same unfocused pitch every time. So,
yeah, I was going to say, you're going to stop inviting them.
Yeah. I can find someone else that'll buy me lunch and actually provide content that's meaningful.
Yeah. Although, there's a benefit to buying them lunch, because when you feed their bodies, you feed their brain.
Oh, no. You don't do it without lunch.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a lot of magic that comes with breaking bread.
Yeah.
So being able to share a meal, when you work in this industry long enough, you get to know everyone. Even a vendor's rep might switch companies, but because you know them, you trust them, you'll take a look at who they're with now, and being able to talk about how their families are, what they're doing for Christmas, and by the way, what laser projectors do you have, and how is that different? That's a great conversation to have.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Last story here before we kind of wrap up, honestly, for the year, which is crazy. From our friends over at AV Magazine, Row Visual has released a transparent LED, and the reason I bring this up is because, first of all, I think the idea is fascinating. The LED panel is transparent up to 60%. From the article here, quote unquote, designed for indoor applications. The Vanish 8 is lightweight and slim, with each panel weighing approximately 6.5 kilograms, measuring 35 millimeters in depth. This is primarily aimed towards video walls. But I wanted to start with Malcolm here. When it comes to something like this, what kind of, I guess, the best way to start this is something that Vix has been kind of preaching is the experience. What sort of experience does something like this provide, both the client as well as, whether it's digital signage or retail or whatever, the folks that are consuming this content on a transparent, virtually transparent LED?
Well, Tim, I think there are some other folks that have had transparent LEDs out for a while. I'm not sure about the particulars of this one, but I think heavily in retail, an application where you have a kiosk, maybe you're selling sodas in a refrigerator. You can have the door basically transparent, but still display on that transparency, but still see inside the content. You can see a Coke or a beer or a bag of chips all at the same time. So it provides another great, I think, avenue for digital signage.
Very good. Luke, when it comes to installing and servicing these, what are some of the gotchas? What are some of the areas that folks need to worry about, or are there any? Or is it just pretty much just an LED?
We haven't done any transparent. It's good timing that this is coming up. And this is an interesting use case. I've got a higher education university that is looking to get rid of the digital signage room scheduling kiosk in front of their meeting spaces and turn one of the windows into a transparent LED. And that's got all of your room scheduling information on it. But there's no longer this sore thumb sticking out telling you what you need to know about that room. It's now part of the room. And it just communicates that they are taking a serious look at technology and adapting and moving forward. So and it took me a little bit of time to actually find some manufacturers that produced some variations for this. A lot of my regular LED walls, they were actually connecting me with other manufacturers. But our experience overall with LED walls is pretty simple and straightforward. We spend a lot more time just getting the brackets plumb and level and just right, and working with the general contractor to make sure that the wall is prepared, and coordinating electrical. We really, the construction side and getting that just right takes the most amount of time. Once the brackets are up, it's just interconnecting wires and magnets.
Very good. Mike, this to me, and Malcolm's right, there have been a couple other folks have had transparent LEDs, but when it comes to just display technologies in general, whether it's talking about retail, higher education, house of worship, where are we going with some of these? I mean, we Luke mentioned laser projectors earlier. That is a relatively newer technology advancement that has come into its own the last 5 years. But is that like the latest and greatest, and we're going to stick on laser for now, or is there something else coming down the pipeline?
Well, I think first of all, you have to be careful on the wording that gets used.
Okay.
There's been a lot of times you can get some manufacturers that refer to laser projectors when it's a laser phosphor projector, which is a little different than an RGB true laser projector. And there's differences in performance and everything else. You can make a whole list on that kind of stuff. But in reality, we're from a visualization point of view, there's advancements in LED and with tighter pitches and transparencies in this case, which I think it's sort of interesting. It's always good to push the standards a little bit and sort of put things out there that are a little different than somebody else, just to make sure that the market is continues to be flexible and vibrant. But from the laser point of view, at Christie we're moving towards RGB illumination. With all-in-one boxes where it's true RGB, 3 separate red, green, blue lasers, and 40,000 lumens up on the wall and 4K resolution, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into that kind of thing. That's not this discussion, but for the projection world, it has always been about brighter, cheaper, smaller, right? And from what I see happening in the LED world is that it's almost the same thing, only it's tighter pitch, better prices, easier to set up. The same thing can be said for panels. Lighter panels, bigger, lighter, and cheaper, right? That's what you want for a panel. Sort of the opposite of there for projection. That's when it goes smaller. But you know, I was recently at a concert in close to here, and what surprised me about this concert was the fact that they were using LED, they were using projection. They were using some of the panels, the in-house panels outside to promote the band, and just the integration of all this technology coming together to provide one experience is, I think, really that's where things are going. And you know, Malcolm with the HD-based T and distribution, it's great to see, and that people are thinking about how these experiences are going to be created. It's not just about visualization, but distribution of signals and loop. You know, getting all these things to work together. It's up to you guys. And we're at Christie, we're all very excited about where things are going, and working closely with the entire market space to just keep going, because you're right. There's I think, Malcolm, you mentioned that there's enough meat on the steak, or was that you, Luke? I don't remember, but you're right. There is enough meat on the steak, and we can all prosper and grow with the way things are going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, as we wrap up here, I want to mention a couple things. First of all, SCN, System Contractors News, has released their 2019 Hall of Fame. This is their 8th annual Hall of Fame inductee ceremony. I just want to say congratulations to everybody. There's some folks here that you know, AVNation has been connected with, Melissa Dillman, Sam Malik, as well as Marla Suttenberg. Dana Barron is on that list. Julian Phillips, who's heavily involved in AVIXA. Also, what happened this week was the CTS Certification Committee has elected their folks that are going to represent you, the folks who hold CTSs. Heather Calloway was elected there, Lauren Gertie, and Mr. Luke Jordan, CTSI from Electro Acoustics and Video, and Mr. Jordan has been elected by his committee peers as their chair. Good. So again, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much, Tim.
So what does that mean? What do you have to do?
Wave and smile.
The outgoing
gotta look good too, right?
Would disagree with that, but go ahead.
Well, that's because Jeremy's figured out how to wave without hurting his wrist. No, it's actually a really huge honor to be just on the committee in general and then be the chair. So my understanding of the committee's value and purpose is one to really promote certification, not only just that you should get it, but that also the certification is meaningful. And I would say that, stress that's inside the industry, but also to the partners of our industry, whether that be consultants, architects, and end users. Additionally, I would say that the committee itself really is in charge of just tons of subcommittees where you've just got really intelligent, hardworking people that are writing the test, that are looking for ways to make sure that it's relevant, and that just even the training materials are adequate so that this doesn't become something that just gets left along the side of the road as technology passes it by. But as cutting edge innovation, technology, ways of doing things, best practices are wrought, this is just staying right ahead of that curve, making sure that it is valuable. And one of the things that I've been able to bless to be a part of is the trajectory of somebody's entire life can be changed by certification. If you understand that you have the ability to take charge of your life, just be ridiculously responsible for yourself, you can pick up a book, you can study, you can learn, you can ask questions. AVIXA even has micro-credentials where if you don't have a mentor, you can video chat with Chuck and Marcus at AVIXA, and they'll help verify your ability to, you've learned how to solder, and you understand how to wire things and how to build racks. And they've got micro-credentials for that. You can put all that together and you can get a CTS. And when you apply for a job, just by having that CTS, an employer has an understanding of what knowledge you know, what you've been able to prove. And it doesn't mean that you know everything, but it means that you've invested in yourself and you're the type of person that is going to continue serving and working and striving for excellence every day. And when somebody takes that applies to your whole life. So whether that's home, church, family, friends, or work, that's the type of person you are. And several of our employees, you've just seen them understand they have the ability to change their lives, and it's just been fantastic. So being a part of this committee is awesome. What it does and what it stands for is terrific. I could not be more excited or thrilled.
All right, again, congratulations there. That's really, really awesome. All right, guys, that's going to do it, honestly, for this episode and for this year. The next couple of weeks of AV Week, you'll see a best of, and then we'll kick off the year looking back to see what the biggest stories were for 2018. But gentlemen, thank you so much. Mr. Malcolm Edwards from HDBaseT, how do people find you?
Thank you much, Tim. You can find us at hdbast.org, and we will be at ISC Hall 5, booth S110. So come and see us there in Amsterdam.
All right, very good. Mike Garrido, thank you so much from Christie. How do people find you and or Christie?
Well, we got christiedigital.com as our home webpage, and we'll be at Amsterdam at ISC at Hall 1H70.
All right, very good. We'll see you there. Absolutely. Hall 1, in case you haven't been, is one of the biggest, busiest halls. So actually Hall 5 is now too. And Mr. Jordan, thank you, sir. Again, how do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Luke Jordan EAVI. You can find our website at eavi.com. Or instead of going to Amsterdam, you can find me living large in Texas.
You just got to find him in Texas. Texas is a big place. So, Fort Worth, not Dallas. Don't ever tell him he's from Dallas. He's from Fort Worth. Just
you're learning.
I'm trying, dude. All right. But for me, don't follow me on the Twitters because at this point, I'm just crossing my fingers that the Bears continue to remember how to play football. But go by the website, if you would, please, AVNation.tv. AVNation.tv. You'll find this program and a host of others. While you're there, check out our supporters section. These are the folks who help us financially, help us bring you AV Week and Resi Week and ISE coverage in just about a month. And Christie Digital as well as HDBaseT are two of those. So we thank them for their support. Also, while you're there, check out our next webinar. It's on AV Network Security. Comes your way January 16th. So all that and more at avnation.tv. avnation.tv. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.